This is the Bring Back Soul Music Podcast, the only podcast devoted to making soul music relevant again. Let's get started with your host, Todd Woodson.
Thank you for joining me for another episode of the Bring Back Soul Music Podcast. My special guest today is a talented artist, originally from Cleveland, Ohio, but now based in Los Angeles, Mr. Johnny Britt. Mr. Britt, how you doing today, sir?
And Todd, thanks so much for having me, man, and congratulations on your show.
Oh, thank you, man. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate you coming on today. We've been trying to get you on for at least a week or 2 weeks now, and somehow things got crossed up, but we're here now, so we're in the moment.
I've been locked in the studio, just finishing up this new album, so this is perfect timing because we just delivered everything.
Okay, we're going to talk about your new album in a little bit, and you also have another song that's out that's more of an inspirational song, dedicated to what we're going through now with all the civil unrest and the protests, and also what's going on with COVID-19 and Corona. But we're going to get into that too. As always, before we get started, tell us a little bit about Johnny Britt.
Oh my goodness. It's going to be crazy because I'm actually writing an autobiography, a book.
Hold on. We might have to break some news here. You got an autobiography coming out.
It'll probably be out later this year. You know, a book is a life story of a book. It's I just spoke with my writer, publisher. I think the book is like 100,000 words, so it's like a whole life story. But in a nutshell, and I'm really blessed and privileged to have Otis Williams, the founder of The Temptations. He's forwarding the book for me. And I would just say, kind of starting there, Otis Williams gave me my break into Hollywood. He discovered me, and I became the youngest ever musical director of the Temptations. And Johnny Britt is just I'm a singer, trumpet player. I do both, and so I'm a cross between R&B and jazz. From Cleveland, Ohio, studied in Paris, France, at the Conservatoire de Versailles, where I studied classical trumpet and theory and all that stuff. Done a whole lot of work with just a lot of people. Been really, really blessed. Continued my education in Chicago, where I broke into the studio scene doing jingles, and that made that run and met my lovely wife, Arlene. We've been married 34 years, August 16th, and came out to LA and just started ripping it up, with the record deal, Motown, Mojazz Records with my group and Clown Suit. And then, hitting all these different movies I've been singing on, Lion King, Forrest Gump. I just recently did Hidden Figures. I was a solo trumpet player in the movie Hidden Figures. Had a really big feature in La La Land as well with Hans Zimmer. So it's been cool, man. It's been like, I'm really living the dream. And I think that like in this book is going to really show a young African-American aspiring and really going for his dream for a lifetime. And that was something that my publicist really was discussing about, the vibe of the book. And it's really about determination, someone determined to reach their goal, and having a lot of no's, but not accepting no's and just breaking through everything to be where I am today.
Okay. We're going to talk a little bit about that, but let's back up a little bit. You're from Cleveland.
Yeah.
Did you come from a family of musicians, or?
I was actually born in Louisville, Kentucky, and my mom took my sister and I to Cleveland. It was before I was 1 year old, and I have several sisters. I grew up with 4 sisters in the house. And the bottom line is, there was music in the house. It wasn't jazz music, it was, we were church. We went to my uncle's church, the House of God in Cleveland. And, we would be singing, and I got all that in me, all that spirit. And so that's what the music was in our home. Then of course the radio, I'm listening to the Temptations, Low Anthony Imperials, and, the Jackson 5 back in the day, and, being in bands and talent shows and stuff. So, but I didn't have like a professional musician in my home. My mom did play the organ, but it wasn't like, some of these artists, they have professional moms and dads. Like, for example, my son he just graduated from college in music. He's got a professional dad as a mentor in music around the house. So I didn't have that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So did you always know that you wanted to be in music since you grew up in a house full of music?
To answer that question, Todd, I would say yes. And I would say that it just happened like organically. Like, for example, like nowadays, like I said, my son, he's graduate of Berklee College of Music. And I took him to the Coburn School on him and his sister, starting piano. And it was kind of like, okay, you got to practice. You got to practice. You see the Asian kids over there, you got to practice. So I never had anyone in my grill saying, Johnny, you got to practice your trumpet. You got to do this. No, I never, ever had anything like that. And I'm saying all that to just say, it was organic. It was just organic. I had fun just like any other kid, playing football, basketball, baseball, running in the neighborhood. But, I knew I could sing at a very early age. I knew I could sing. I remember when I used to kind of ride bikes, I used to just make up songs, riding bikes. Or, I remember one thing I used to like to do is when I'm reading, I would sing the lyrics. So it was just really just a natural thing to me. And I was the lead singer in my uncle's church at age 4. So I always could like carry a tune. And when I saw Michael Jackson and these cats, you trying to be like them, So it was always in me, it was always in me. But even just like the trumpet, I played trumpet and I started trumpet in 6th grade. And the only reason I started playing trumpet was because Miss White was a music teacher at the school. And, it's like, okay, I think the music, it was just, the department was brand new. Okay, we're going to start a music department. And they passed around some pictures of instruments and said, like, what do you want to play? To all the kids. And wasn't even expect this. And man, I looked at like the trombone on the picture and it had this slide. I said, well, that's too difficult. And then I think I probably looked at the clarinet. They had all these buttons and stuff to play, and I didn't gravitate towards that. And then I saw a trumpet. It had like 3 valves. And I said to myself, Todd, I said, that can't be that difficult to play. So this is what I want. I want this right here, is a trumpet. And come to find out that the trumpet is actually the most difficult of all those instruments to play. I mean, any instrument, these takes discipline and difficulty. But, the trumpet, they say for sure that it's definitely the most difficult instrument to play. And once I started again on my own, just in school, I certainly gravitated to it, and it was cool. The little girls liked it and stuff, so it never left me. I love playing the trumpet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, when did you make the move to Los Angeles?
I made the move to Los Angeles in 1989. And that was part of the Temptation story. My wife and I, we were married in 86, so that was about 3 years. And I was playing in a top 40 band. I was playing keyboards and singing. That's how I actually met my wife. It was in Indiana, and she was fine. Boy, she walked in that club. Man, I was singing You Are My Lady by Freddie Jackson. Boy, I started singing that thing like, I said, woo! Long story short, I fell in love with her. And, and we jumped the broom. But not long after I married her, the same band, we had a gig at this place called the Holiday Star Theater in Maryville, Indiana. And this is where like all the stars came to play. Well, we were playing in a little club, where people came to dance and stuff. And when I went to the gig that particular day, man, I saw the Temptations on the marquee. I said, man, the Temptations are here. And so, man, we did our first little set. And on the first break, man, I ran to the other side of the resort. And I knew, I knew the theater and stuff. So I knew where the backstage door was. And I knocked on the back of the stage door. And this big security guard, opened the door, and I said, I'd like to see Otis Williams of the Temptations. Man, he like slammed the door in my face. And so I peeped into the theater, where the theater was. And the concert just let out. Nobody was in there, child. And I just jumped on that stage. And I walked backstage, and the very first person I ran into was Otis Williams of the daggone Temptations. And I just said, hey, Mr. Williams, my name is Johnny Britt. I have some songs I think you'd be interested in, because I've always been a writer. And man, he kind of looked at me like I was crazy. He said, come to my hotel tomorrow night at 7. Next night I was there and played him the songs, and he just loved it. The rest was history. He did some production work for them. And then he asked me in our relationship, he says, man, later on he saw my resume and saw the study I've done. He says, man, can you be a musical director? I said, yeah, I can be a musical director. And he told me, if you can write us an overture, this is your gig. I said, okay, cool. So I wrote an overture. And when I got the gig with the Temptations, that really allowed me to move to Los Angeles without struggling. And not only that, my wife and I wanted to move to Los Angeles, and the Temptations wanted me to move to Los Angeles so I could be closer, So that's how I got to Los Angeles. It was just that gig with the Temps, and we had aspired to come out here, anyway. But how can you just, you just can't come across country, like that. So that really afforded me the luxury of coming to Los Angeles, really first class. I came in as a musical director of the Temptations, and people were working for me, and we've been here ever since. Okay.
Let me back up just a little bit. Now, you said that Mr. Williams said if you can write an overture. Explain what an overture is.
An overture is like a fanfare. It's the beginning of a show before the stars come out. And the purpose of it is really like to excite the crowd instead of the Temptations in this case just coming out. You want to hype them up. You want to like give them something like, oh my goodness, here they come. So my job was to write that piece of music, and it was a collection of it was a medley I put together of famous Temptation songs, segues, excitement, blah blah blah. And when I did that, they knew, they hired me like right on the spot. But that's what got me the gig. If the overture wasn't happening, I'd have never gotten the gig. But it was happening, and they actually they did it for a long, long time. I think they just stopped doing it, and we're talking, over several years. So yeah, thank God for that overture, dog.
And so that led the way to you working with other artists. I read your bio, and you worked with, man, it's just some of the greatest artists of all time. I mean, Luther Vandross and Maxwell and Sting and Jennifer Lopez and the Temptations, and the list goes on and on. So I guess it's sometimes better to be lucky than good, right? You were just in the right place at the right time, and you happened to.
I really was. It was funny because I was telling my daughter this story, because she's like 20 years old, but all my whole past, every little detail, but I'm trying to like letting her know we were at dinner. And I was telling her this stuff, and she's like, Daddy, you were just at the right place at the right time. And it was really true. It was really true. Like, right. And I was letting her know how the Lord has really guided my life. And and it's been on multiple occasions, not just one. But me in the right spot at the right time, to do the right thing, and I would really, and this is all in the book, but I would say to young aspiring artists, musicians, is that you really have to, I'd say, have really thick skin. I'd say, you have to believe in yourself. That's the bottom line. You really have to believe in yourself, because you're going to get a lot of no's. You have to believe in yourself, and you have to have faith, and you have to work hard.
Okay. So it seems sort of like a fairy tale, so to speak. And I'm sure you've had your share of struggles too. It doesn't, the world wasn't always paved in gold, but yeah, great advice to give to up and coming artists that sometimes, things may not always go your way.
Yeah.
You got to keep plugging at it.
Yeah. Like, I think a common thing I kind of hear with maybe some of my students or just young cats is that, I'm going to give it like 2 years. I'm going to give this 2 years. And if I'm not a star, I'm like, you might as well do something else right now. Don't even waste those 2 years. So, a lot of young people, they don't really know, they don't really know, but you could do it. You certainly can do it.
Okay. So that's great advice. Like I said, now let's talk about Hold On. It's a great song. Tell us the inspiration behind that song.
Well, Hold On, I was in the middle of writing my brand new album, Jazzin, and this was during quarantine. All my tours got canceled, obviously, and I was in the studio really cranking out this new album. And I went on, and of course I've been, reading, looking at TV every day, man. People are dying everywhere, and it's just like, couldn't believe it. So one morning, I went on a jog with my dog, and when I came back, right before I hit the front door, this song hit me. It just hit me. Music is music is kind of hard to explain, but the spirit just hit me with this song. And when I heard it, right away I recorded it into my phone. The whole idea, hold on, that whole thing, and I just put it away. And then waited a few more days, and then I went to the piano. To just see, this is what I'm hearing, and then, man, the rush. Then when inspiration hits you, I think it hits you, and I think it leaves. So you have to grab that inspiration while it's there. I kind of, it's like a song. It's kind of like, you kind of cook it, and then you deliver it. So I wrote this song and produced this song with the choir in a week. And the inspiration behind the song was the world and everything that we're, going through with Corona and the protests and the whole thing. And it was this thing, what can I tell people to do? And it's just hold on. That's what we have to do. Hold on. So I'm really happy about that song, because that song will be here. It will be here, and it's a song of I call it a song. It's my song of hope. It's a song of hope, and people need that. Music is very, very powerful, and I think that music can give people strength, and that's what this song is intended to do.
Okay, fair enough. And we're going to pause right now, and we're going to play Hold On This is Johnny Britt with Hold On the Bring Back Soul Music Podcast. Enjoy.
We'll continue our episode after this message. Swag at shop.bringbacksoulmusic.com. Now, back to our conversation.
All right, Johnny, we're back. Hold On, great song, man. I love it. And I think it's definitely a message song. And so I think people will enjoy it. Now, that's already out. How have people received it?
It's been really, really powerful. It's on YouTube. We have a complete video, and people absolutely love it. We've had one show since, COVID and the whole thing, and I performed Hold On at the Coach House in Laguna Beach. And when you hear that song live, it's just really, really, really powerful. It's really, really powerful. So people, it gets really emotional.
Yeah, and I can see why, because it's tough out there for people right now,
Absolutely.
And the uncertainty, I think, is the biggest part, So message songs, particularly ones that are heartfelt, I think are needed right now. So I don't want to make this a Debbie Downer. Let's talk about the new single that you have out with one of my favorite artists, Mr. Norman Brown. Tell us about that.
The name of the song is called Mo Jazzin. And that song, the track, actually, I really wrote that track for Boney James. I've written several hit songs for Boney James. Several have like 3.
I knew I liked him for a reason, man. You're the reason.
Yeah, that's right. And I wrote the song Contact. It's a huge song. The song that I wrote, I also wrote Grand Central, and a song called The Total Experience featuring George Duke, along with several other songs. I've been on just about every Boney James record as a writer. And so I wrote the song, for Boney. I did. I think he was at the end of his project. And I said, I'm going to write it to him. Because actually, I opened up for him last year and we were backstage. And he was winding down his project. And I said, okay, I'm going to write a track for you. Wrote it. And I said, Todd, when I wrote this track, I knew it was hot. I knew it was hot. And I'm like, I really want to do this track. I really want to do it, But I gave him the benefit of the doubt, but everything really worked out, for me to record the track. And after I did it, I called Norman Brown, who is a former label mate of mine at Motown Mojazz Records. We both started our careers off there. Steve McKeever signed the two of us to Mojazz. Mojazz was the jazz division of Motown Records. I had my group Impromptu, and Norman Brown was Norman Brown. So we've toured together, we've recorded together, and this was like a reunion. When I called him, he said, absolutely, Johnny. He loved, my work and the whole thing. And after after that conversation, I said, I'm going to call this song Mo Jazzin. And I think it's, because it's a perfect, title for us reuniting in the whole vibe. So that's the vibe on how Mo Jazzin came about. And it's, we were number one most increased plays on Billboard. Second week out, it's a hit song. It's a hit song. We're all over the country already. I'm getting calls from all over the country. Sirius XM Radio, and just everyone is playing this record.
Yeah, I love it. I heard it actually right before we started the show.
Right.
And I thought, wow, this is. Yeah. I was thinking more of something along the lines of Hold On, because I wasn't real familiar with your music, and I'm like, this is a 180-degree turn from Hold On.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. And actually, the whole album is gonna be 180 degrees for you as well. I'm really, really proud of this album. I just thinking, and like, I'm not a woman, but delivering a 14-song album, it's got to be like delivering a baby. Like 9 months of labor. And I wrote, produced, edited, mixed, singing, playing trumpet, piano, just the whole thing on this record. It's a whole lot. And to have completed it, have everything done like this week is a real blessing. And to have it done the way that you really want it to be done from top to bottom is extremely difficult. Because y'all just listen and say, hey ho, but it's a lot that goes into making a masterpiece, and I really do feel that that's what I've created with Jazzin. I'm extremely happy to have Norman Brown on this particular hit song. At the end of this month, which is July, we will be releasing a song with Eric Roberson. Him and I, singing a duet, hit song, song that I wrote, and he wrote, he came up with some really cool stuff. But we have Eric Roberson on the record. Then my good friend Marion Nettles, we're gonna come back with the Marion Nettles single. That's gonna be the next jazz single. The Eric Roberson joint, that's gonna be like the first R&B single. So what we're really doing a unique thing where we're gonna be cross-marketing this record. So the first single is Mo Jazzin, right? And that's in the jazz lane. Then we're gonna be dropping so I'm not supposed to be leaking it, but the Eric Roberson song that's coming out, in the R&B, soul lane. Then we'll come back with Marion Nettles joint, on the second single, and it's really fantastic. We have Paul Jackson Jr. on the record, and so the record is a mix of R&B and jazz. So if you're not, familiar with me, I've always played the trumpet. That was going to put me in the jazz category, and I've always been a singer, an R&B singer, and so it's kind of put me in the R&B soul category. So I really do a mixture of all of these different styles. And then when you throw in Hold On, and then I have a song called There Is Nobody, that is just a massive anthem. And I'm doing some spoken word on the record, a little bit of just a touch of rap, writing a little rap on one, but it's all really wonderful. And I really hope that you and all of your listeners will check out Mo Jazzin. It's coming hard. Yeah.
Do you have the date locked down on when it's going to be
Yeah,
released?
it will be released August 16th.
Okay. So roughly about a month from now.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll look forward to that.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Okay. So a couple questions here. Who did you admire or listen to as a youngster growing up? Who were some of the artists that influenced you?
Well, several, but I did an album called Marvin Meets Miles. And if you and your listeners can please just Google Johnny Britt, Marvin Meets Miles. Marvin Gaye was a very big influence in my approach to vocals. And Miles Davis, the legendary trumpet player, was a great influence in my approach to playing the trumpet. So I'll just kind of stop right there, because I did this project called Marvin Meets Miles. And I just the record executive in London this week, because I'll be doing a 2-hour special show over there. And when I told him about the Mo Jazz, I told him that I felt this was my best work ever. And he said, it's going to be hard to beat that Marvin Meets Miles. That's what he said. So that's what he said. But I'm very, very proud of Marvin Meets Miles album. A lot of people don't know about it because we are independent, so you have to kind of like really search for stuff and find out about stuff, a little bit after it's really been released, so please check out Marvin Meets Miles, Johnny Britt, Marvin Meets Miles. But yeah, a Marvin Gaye, Miles Davis, and because I am like an R&B singer and a jazz trumpet player, my influences and styles, they're gonna go to each lane. So say like the trumpet, I'm gonna say some stuff that some cats that you never really heard of because they're like hardcore jazz music. Like I'm just saying, Woody Shaw, Clifford Brown, of course Wynton Marsalis is a really good friend of mine, but Roy Hargrove. These are like young cats. But my great teacher was the legendary Richard Williams. But this is like, if you're not in the jazz, you're not gonna really, they're not really like mainstream, But I like Earth, Wind and Fire. Kool and the Gang was cool back then. Singing. Sam Cooke. Crazy about Sam Cooke. I love Maxwell. I was on tour with Maxwell. All them women screaming for him. Max is cool. But yeah, I'm just an R&B jazz dude,
Okay.
a jazz head.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, you mentioned earlier that your son just graduated from music school or college.
Yeah, Berkeley College.
Excuse me. Yeah, Berkeley College. Does he help you, or has he collaborated with you on this album or any other?
He is. Yeah, I'm glad that you asked that question. He's playing. He's a multi instrumentalist, but he's playing piano, and he has a feature on a song called "Is It Cool?" And when you hear this song, if you are a Boney James fan, impromptu fan, that was a song that I placed on Boney James. And so it was called Deep Time. I had originally had it, Is It Cool? But when, he wanted to do the track and do his stuff, he renamed it to Deep Time, which was cool. And a lot of people know it. But it was originally Is It Cool? Was my song that I originally wrote. I actually wrote that when I was on tour as well. And on Boney's song, Deep Time, George Duke is playing piano on it. So it's really, really smoking. So I'm really, really blessed to have my son, Josh. He's playing acoustic piano on it, and he's like really, because he really killed it, I gave him a feature on it. We recorded it at Paramount Studios in Hollywood, all live. So Josh is on that. Is It Cool? Playing piano. He's on There's Nobody, the anthem song I told you about, playing piano. He's playing trumpet on There's Nobody. And he's also playing bass on Can't Stop. Then while we're talking about my kids, my daughter Mariah, she's singing in the choir on Hope. That's my daughter. I sing soprano. And she's also singing on There's Nobody, the anthem song. And then the anthem song, the There's Nobody, I actually wrote that with my wife, Arlene. That song is really a family affair because everyone in my household, my wife wrote it with me, my son playing piano and trumpet, my daughter's singing on it. So what more can you ask for as a dad? So yeah, we do collaborate, and it's funny because I just finished the album. And so my son he'll be writing all the charts for me for the band, for it to be played live. So yeah, that's my boy, and I'm really, really proud of him.
Okay. Is he a singer too, or just a musician?
Yeah, he can sing. Yeah, they've all done a lot of movies and records when they were little growing up, but he is a singer.
Okay.
And it's cool.
All right.
He's actually a film scoring composition major, so he'll be going into motion pictures.
Very nice. Very nice. Wow, you have an interesting story, Mr. Britt. I love talking to you. Anything else you want to cover that we discussed the release date? Oh, about the book. Yeah, the book. Now, why a book and why now?
It's really funny. Uh, it was not planned, and kind of everything in my life has happened to me by surprise. Surprise. Like, I hadn't planned on becoming the musical director of the Temptations. I never planned on doing a lot of, I never planned on being the music producer of the Temptations film miniseries with Leon. I didn't plan on becoming the co-music producer of Richard's Story. I didn't plan on any of this stuff. But getting back to the book, and I'm just saying this because nothing has been planned in my life. It's just been, I'd say, divine. So this is last either August or September, something like that. I think I got an email from a book publisher of the Clear Blue Sky. And she says, I think you have a very interesting story. Maybe she's been online and reading, about me. And she's, I would like to write a book on you. Would you be interested? And I didn't know if this was, because you get a lot of prank calls and, emails. And something said, give her a call. Gave her a call. White lady. And she said exactly what I just said. And she said, I think you have a very interesting life. And I think people will be very interested in reading a book on you. And it was unbelievable because I never had thought of writing a book, And she was really serious. She said, I have a publisher. I'll write the book. The only thing you have to do is tell me your story. And I said, what do I have to lose? I said, okay.
Right.
And so, I tour, quite a bit. So, whenever I commit to do something, I try to do it with excellence. So I didn't know how. She was out of town. She was actually in Las Vegas. And I didn't, normally I guess if you're going to write a book, you need to be sitting across from somebody, telling them about, your life. Well, we didn't have that luxury because I was traveling. And she was there. So it just dawned on me. I would be on the airplanes. And it was funny because, and it was actually good therapy for me because I went back as far as I could remember. And I told her everything that I could really remember or was told before I could remember about my life. And man, it was very interesting. I just did it, wrote it, I did it, like I said, on planes and hotels, and we got it done. I mean, we're not all the way there yet, but we are certainly a lot more than a halfway done, maybe 3/4. There's editing and stuff to do, and she's been amazing. She came to Los Angeles to meet with me probably before we got started, and I saw that she was really serious. I looked up her credentials. She's written other books. She's at school, and bottom line, it was legit. I felt it was legit. And so that's how the book has come about. And I must admit, I didn't know that the timing would be so perfect because we have the Moon album, which, took a whole lot of work. And I'm just delivering it now. And now we are, we're still, training the book. And hopefully the book will be out by the end of the year. But, the album will still be rolling to parlay off of that. So it just happened, and who knows what's going to happen with this book. It is a anybody that's into Johnny Britt, and I'm not Michael Jackson, so everybody knows who Michael Jackson is, but my fans and people that would like my story, even my children and my wife, because I lived a lot of life before I got married, and certainly before kids. It's all there.
Okay. Was anybody in the family, like your wife, for example, a little apprehensive about telling your story and putting it in a book?
No, my wife has really been a blessing to me. She's very mature. She's always had my back and my best interests at hand. And she's always trusted me. So she, no, there's no resistance. I mean, there was nothing. There was everything to gain and nothing to lose.
I hear you.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we'll look for that. Hopefully by the end of the year, you say.
Yeah, Johnny Britt.
It might be too early.
I have. Say it again.
It might be too early, but is there a title for the book?
I was just getting ready to say that we do have a title, but I just can't reveal.
Okay, got it. Fair enough. You can't blame me for trying, man.
Yeah. But it's the autobiography of Johnny Britt, and it is definitely on the way. Okay.
So you got Hold On that's out. Mo Jazzin, the single is out. You can, by the way, check those out both on YouTube.
Yeah, they're Apple. They're on Apple Music, Spotify. They're everywhere. But also, I do want to tell your fans that I am giving away free downloads of both of those songs. Only thing you have to do is go to johnnybritt.com and go to shop or whatever it says, and just click the link there, and you'll see the song either Hold On or Mo Jazzin, and feel free to click on it. And like I said, we're giving it away. It is free. So you have that option, but of course you can buy it anywhere. You can buy it everywhere online. But I would like to also mention that we have the third single coming out, which is called Keep Working It Out. And that's with featuring Eric Roberson. So please be on the lookout for that. That will be coming out July 30th. So we will have Hold On, Mo Jazzin, and Keep Working It Out.
Okay.
It'll be released.
You got a busy 2020, a busy few months ahead of you. All right. Anything else, Mr. Britt, before we let you go today, man? This has been a great interview.
You've been excellent. I have to say, my publicist told me that you're cool, and you're more than cool. And I really wish you all the best with the show. You're a good brother. And, man, I would love to come back anytime.
You're welcome back anytime, my friend.
Yeah. And I just want to let everybody know that, you can reach me at johnnybritt.com. Facebook /Johnny Britt. I'm sure you're going to have all this on the screen, but Twitter, Instagram, yeah. So I'm not hard to reach.
Okay.
All the music.
All right, Mr. Britt, good luck with everything, man. I appreciate you coming on the show with the album, the singles, the book.
Wow.
Yeah. Where do you find the time, man?
That's going to be the next book. Telling people, how do you manage 2 kids, a wife, a dog, a house, this, and that? How do you do that? That's my next project.
Right. All right, Mr. Britt. Appreciate you, man, taking the time today.
My brother.
It's Johnny Britt on the Bring Back Soul Music podcast, and we'll be right back.
Calling all lovers of soul music. The time to make soul music relevant again is now. You've been listening to the Bring Back Soul Music podcast with Todd Woodson. If you enjoyed today's show, be sure to tell a friend. Make sure you never miss an episode by subscribing to our newsletter at bringbacksoulmusic.com.
Well, that's our show for today. I'd like to thank my special guest, Mr. Johnny Britt. You can find out more about Johnny on his website at johnnybritt.com. Don't forget, you can listen to the Bring Back Soul Music podcast on iTunes, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, and Spotify. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel at Bring Back Soul Music TV. If you have any questions or comments, please email us at comments@bringbacksoulmusic.com. Closing out today's show is Johnny Britt and his new release called Mo Jazzin. I'm Todd Woodson. Thank you for joining us. See you next week.